It's Tuesday, it's the betting edge with the Prez. The graphics still say Morning Joe and the Pro, but that ends tomorrow. I'm the Prez, Lawrence Presman, co-founder of WagerTalk Media, owner of WagerTalk.com, SportsMemo.com, and the iconic Gold Sheet. Today, fun show. Drew Martin and Ralph Michaels with us. We're talking one college football game, two baseball games, and two NFL games. And really quickly, guys, I talked about this on the college football betting show with Dave Cokin and Teddy Covers. Check that out at WagerTalk TV. But we have a new show we tape every single Monday. It's called Pros vs. Joes. Myself, Joe Ranieri, and Rob Vino discuss 5 primetime television games in football this coming weekend. We make 5 picks, and then we put up a forum for you guys to make picks on those same games. You get $10 for entering the contest, $25 for tying us, $50 for beating us, and $100 in wager bucks if you go 5-0. Head over to WagerTalk TV on our YouTube channel. Find the show Pros and vs. Joes. There is a contest entry form in the main comments section. Make sure to join us. And guys, it's a fun show. Not only do we take apart the 5 primetime games, but we also do it in a fun manner with a whole lot of small talk and a whole lot more Prez personality. If you guys don't laugh during that show, something is wrong. Let's bring in our guests, Drew Martin and Ralph Michaels. Drew, it's $2 Tuesdays over at Sports Memo and WagerTalk.com. Why don't you tell us what's going on over at Sports Memo?
Absolutely. $2 Tuesday at SportsMemo.com. You can get the top play in MLB 5%er for just $2. And when you get that, you also get another top play from a guy named Hunter Engelhart, who's doing very well in MLB. You'll get his top play for just $9 over at SportsMemo.com. Also, check out the All Access packages. We got a promo coupon code for my college football and NFL. Drew49 at checkout will give you 7-day All Access with me for just $49. So big savings there.
Guys, we have so many people on runs over at WagerTalk.com. Marco is on a 16-4 football run. Dave Cokin is 16-6 in college football and 9-5 in NFL. Teddy is 60% in both sports, but nobody is doing better than Brian Leonard. Brian was a perfect 8-0 in college football this past weekend. He's on a 13-2 run. He is the $2 Tuesday over at WagerTalk.com. So please make sure to check that out. Ralph, how are you, my friend? We got to talk about the NFL presidential address. Everybody real quick. The NFL presidential address has been completely revamped. Kelly Stewart will no longer be joining us on that show. She is just too busy, too much in demand. She is going to be focusing her attention on our Wednesday videos coming out of the studio in Las Vegas, as well as hosting Bet On It with Gianni the Greek and Marco. So as a result, we, Ralph Michaels and I, will be doing the NFL presidential address together, and it will be up every single Wednesday, so make sure to check that out. Boys, let's get right into it. Ralph, we're going to go to you first, my friend. USC coming off of a nice win against Utah last week. They're on the road facing a Washington team. -10 for Washington. There are some 9.5s on the board. I'm struggling to bet this game. I'll tell you that flat out. I think Washington's the right side, but man, USC, they're like the Atlanta Falcons of college football. Loaded with talent and only show up half the time. What do you like in this one?
Well, I think there's certainly a different USC team with Graham Harrell as their OC. We saw they didn't take their foot off the gas when they needed to. They're, of course, down to their third quarterback, lose JT Daniels. Then lose Keaton Slovis last week down to Matt Fink. Matt Fink was on this team last year, got in a few games, saw some action. So he's not a youngster. but this is his first start. We saw Slovis struggle his first start at BYU, throwing a couple picks, and USC benefited. I mean, when you saw Fink throw the ball, he threw a lot of balls up for grabs. And yes, USC has 3 receivers that are probably going to play in the NFL in Pittman, St. Brown, and Carr, but he threw up balls that were 50-50 balls. His receivers made those plays at home. Washington's a different animal. USC also benefited last week when Utah lost Zach Moss. It took something out of their offense. This USC team has still allowed 421 yards per game, playing a Fresno State offense that lost their quarterback, playing a Stanford offense that's horrible, playing a BYU offense that's mediocre, and playing a Utah offense that, again, lost Zach Moss. So I have concerns. I do like the favorite here, and I like the over as well.
He's Ralph Michaels. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. And don't forget, he is my co-host on the NFL Presidential Address. Drew Martin wearing the Auburn hat. Big game for them. We can talk about that privately on the phone if you want, but we're talking Washington, USC now. What do you like in this one?
Yeah, out in the Pac-12, this game on Fox. It should be a good one, by the way, in the middle of the day on Saturday. I have a little bit different view than Ralph, with all due respect. He's a great handicapper, but that's what makes a market. And I go after this one not from a side perspective, mainly because it's difficult for me to break down how good this Washington team is. That tough loss to Cal, but kind of like extracurricular activities with the weather, and then beating up on 2 teams that are sub talent-wise to them. Going up against USC, I think talent-wise, USC will be able to kind of go blow for blow with Washington. In trying to figure out USC as well, breaking down, I was on Utah for that Friday night game. And kind of handicapping the handicap. I don't necessarily think Utah was the wrong side. Like Ralph said, Moss went down, plus the fact the 50-50 balls went in USC's favor. So if they played 10 times in the Coliseum, I'm not so sure that USC would win more than 5. So from a side perspective, I'm not too interested in this number up in the Northeast. By the way, it's getting a little chilly. I'm going at this more from a totals perspective. And when you start talking about Pittman, the wide receiver, well over 200 yards receiving in those 50-50 balls, is he going to get him? Is he not? I'm not too sure against this Washington defense. I would put him kind of on par with the Utah defense. I'd go at this more from a totals perspective. Both teams averaging sub 70 plays per game, 68 and 69 respectively. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of plays ran. Plus the fact USC's on their 3rd string quarterback. Like Ralph said, first start for Slovis was tough. I think Fink might have a little bit less success here. And Washington isn't necessarily pushing the pace going against that USC defensive line. I think they're going to have trouble offensively. So I like the under here. We get a pretty hefty total here, touching near 60. I like under 59 USC versus Washington.
He's Drew Martin. He runs Sports Memo, and you can find him there as a handicapper as well. Guys, quick commercial break. We're right back with 2 baseball games. Hey, everybody, really quickly, just want to re-emphasize some of the runs that are going on right now over at WagerTalk. Marco, Teddy, and Dave Cokin all absolutely rolling. We've got a special for you. $20 off of their 1-week access. It's regularly $99. You can have it for $79. For Teddy, use the promo code TC79. For Dave Cokin, use Cokin79. And for Marco D'Angelo, use Marco79. Also, there'll be a scroll throughout the show at the bottom of the screen with their promo codes up as well. Drew, you picked the 2 baseball games we're going to discuss, and even though Cleveland and Oakland are in a dog fight to the end, you wanted to talk about the New York Mets at minus 62,000 against the Miami Marlins, Florida Marlins, Miami. Shoot me in the head. Clearly, you've got something to discuss in this meaningless game of nothingness. New York Mets have won 5 of their last 7. Florida hasn't won 5 of 7 all year. You better tell me the dog is live here, or I'm going to look at you and say, why the hell are you sending me a minus 280, 290 game? Talk to us.
I do like the Marlins plus 240, Prez, but having said that, putting an asterisk next to this, it's trying to beat September MLB. It's not an easy thing, so tread lightly, guys. I like Alcantara on the hill here. Last 22 innings, 17-4 K to walk ratio. Only 5 earned runs in his last 17 innings pitched. Syndergaard on the other side, 5 innings in each of his last 3 starts, failing to get to the 6th inning, giving up 4 earned runs in each. Bullpens, the Mets have over a 5 ERA. Marlins have under a 5 ERA in the last 30 days. And OPS, team OPS, not that big of a difference. Slight advantage, 782 to 723 last 2 weeks for the Mets. So I think all of that considered, with the big plus price here, plus 240, trying to find value in September MLB, having to pick 2 games, I like the Marlins here.
Ralph Michaels, you got stuck talking about this meaningless game because Drew picked it. What do you like?
My question is, why aren't we talking about 2 college football games and 1 baseball game? But anyway.
I can answer that question.
Okay, go ahead.
A lot of the comments are saying, talk baseball, talk baseball. I'm trying to give the users what they want. We talk college football throughout the week. Teddy, Dave, Cokin, and myself do a college football show every week. It's close to an hour long. We take apart 15 games. We have no room for baseball in September, so the only spot we can do it is on these shows, the Betting Edge with the Prez, and that's the reason, Ralph.
Fair enough. Couple notes to add to Drew's comments. You do have a Mets team that's batting 223 over the last 5 days, 224 over the last 10 days. An interesting note, though, for the Marlins, there's times when I look at a starting pitcher and I say to the Marlins, I'll take a look at him the first 5 because you think if he's going to get off to a good start, he's going to pitch well. Well, the Marlins over the last 14 days, they've actually won back-to-back games. They won as a 210 dog against Mats. They won as a 200 dog against a 170 dog against Voth. They're 4-4 their last 8 games. But looking at their last 14 games, first 5 innings, they've won 1 game. That was last night with Caleb Smith on the mound. He took a 2-0 lead into the 5th. So the Marlins, 1 win in the last 14 games if you bet them the first 5 innings. So listen to Drew's advice. Take a long shot with Alcantara. And I'll tell you what, this is a fun time where you really can get some value finding a couple dogs you like and betting a couple big run line parlays where a small bet can get you a big hit. Speaking of
a small bet getting you a big hit, just to hijack the show super quick, my Twitter account is at Prez WagerTalk. I tweeted out last night that a guy went over, I think it was to 5 dimes, laid an 89 cent bet on like 20 something.
It was 20
team parlay. Won the first 19 games. Washington wins straight up. That 89 cent bet turns into $500,000. We were talking about whether this guy was able to hedge this play or not. He could have hedged this thing for $250,000 and pocket $500,000. But anybody who's only betting 89 cents is probably flat out of money. So I have 2 messages for you. Really 1. And that is, if any listener is on this show and bets $1 to win $500,000 and does not have the money to hedge that bet, just email me, prez@wagertalk.com. I will put up the money for the hedge myself. Ralph, you saw that tweet, and my God, that guy. Well, at least you didn't have to sweat much. It was over fast.
Yeah, well, there's other options. Prop Swap's a company out here where he could have today. So I'm sure he found someone to help him hedge. And, hey, congrats.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Drew, you sent in another game, another just important game on the schedule for nobody. Atlanta versus Kansas City. Atlanta is minus 161. And Ned Yost has said he is done I'm going to assume that you feel that will rally the troops in Kansas City playing against an Atlanta team who's probably trying to set up their rotation correctly. I'm thinking you like the dog again?
I don't really have too big of an interest sidewise, Prez. I just kind of saw something here that leans me towards the total. Tehran on the hill for the Braves. He's been pretty good outside of facing the Philadelphia lineup. And on the other side, Duffy coming from the left side. His last 3 starts, only 2 earned runs given up. So he's been pretty dynamite too. I guess that would lean me towards the plus price on the Royals, but even more so, first 5 here, looking towards the under. There's still a 5.5 out there. I like the under 5.5 minus 120. Plus, both of these lineups the last 2 weeks, kind of bottom half lineups in terms of weighted runs created number. Not seeing it very well. So all said, under 5.5. First 5.
Ralph, any thoughts on this game? I've got none, dude. I mean, I've literally, I'm still betting baseball every day, but I'm not spending a ton of time on the games I'm not interested in.
Well, I mean, you look at the Royals, and the Royals put up 20 runs the last 2 games, but again, that was on the road at Minnesota where they lost 12-8 and won 12-5. I mean, that's why they're batting .310 the last 5 days when you put up 28 hits in those 2 games. But, often late in the year, you get on a little mini run like that offensively on the road, then you have Monday off, and now you're back at home. It turns into quite a different dynamic.
He's Ralph Michaels. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. Drew Martin, of course, at SportsMemo.com. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're back with 2 NFL games. Hey everybody, it's the Prez. Thanks for watching. Make sure to keep commenting and posting up on all our videos. I read them all. I comment on most of them. Just really quick, want to make mention again that the NFL presidential address, which is taped every Wednesday, has a completely new format. Kelly Stewart will be focusing her attention on Bet On It with Gianni the Greek and Marco D'Angelo. As a result, I've reached out to the greatest analyzer of all time, Ralph Michaels. He will be co-hosting the show with me. We have revamped the format of the show. We have new images for the show. It's going to be a great show, so make sure to check that out. It is put up on Wednesday. As well, the college football betting show with Dave Cokin and Teddy Covers. That's already up at WagerTalk TV. Ralph, let's give them a preview. I got a cough. Oh, God, I hate September. Let's give them a preview of what we're going to be talking about on the NFL presidential address. New England, they find themselves at -7 against Buffalo. They're on the road. Look, I find this an interesting game. I mean, Buffalo 3-0 for the first time in probably ever since Jim Kelly was behind center. They just haven't played anyone, Ralph. They almost got beat by Cincinnati last week. With that said, I think this Buffalo team is really good. I think their defense is stout. I think Josh Allen looks good on offense. I think they have a balanced play calling attack on offense. I think this could be a coming out for Buffalo. My lean right off the bat is Buffalo plus the points. I think, even with New England's really good defense, I think they might struggle here. What do you like?
The NFL, unlike college football, is a league where you can use systems because there's parity. There's not much difference between teams. So when you look at situations, more often than not, they hold true from one year to the next. One number that surprised me that I tweeted out earlier this morning, since 1989, so we're talking 30 years in the NFL, there have only been 4 other times where a 3-0 team has been a home dog like the Buffalo Bills are this week. So yes, are they not getting the respect, or is it New England's just getting so much respect with their start, especially on defense? Last week's game against Cincinnati didn't surprise me. We either talked about it on here or on a video I did. The Bills are a team that is a great underdog. They don't make mistakes. They have a young quarterback. They have a great defense. Learning how to win as a favorite is something a team has to learn to do. And you saw them jump out to the lead against Cincinnati. You saw them give up 21 points and Cincinnati come back and get the lead. And then you saw them do what they had to do, make that last touchdown run to win the game. So Buffalo as a dog is in a role, I think that's good. New England's defense is legit. Bill Belichick calling the defense for the first time again in multiple years. He doesn't have a DC on his roster after the last 2 seasons, Patricia, and then he promoted his linebacker coach last year. But his defense is legit. I think the Bills' defense can keep it close. I'm going to lean the Bills here plus the points. And it seems like an obvious play with the under, but I'm going to lean that way as well.
Yeah, I'm not with you on the under there, Ralph. It did come out at 44. It's now down to 42. I feel like this game's actually going to go over the total, and we'll talk about that on the NFL presidential address tomorrow. Drew, what do you like in this one?
One, I thought that was a great breakdown by Ralph in terms of using the systems in the NFL. I like that as well. I think trends matter a little bit more in the NFL as well because of the parity of the talent. But from a side perspective, I agree with both of you guys. I think this Bills defense is legit. I mean, the Patriots defense, that goes without being said. What they haven't let up a touchdown all season long. I would look at this from a totals perspective and looking at the trends. I mean, all 3 games for Buffalo under the total, 2 of the 3 for New England under the total. I would go with that. And this market move. I mean, the market's telling us from 44 to 42, looking towards the under. I'm not a big Josh Allen guy. I think Buffalo really struggles offensively. So I guess to add on to that, I little bit more confident in the Buffalo team total under than I am the full game under. But in terms of full game bets, I would look towards the under here, Prez.
He's Drew Martin. You can find him at sportsmemo.com. And of course, Ralph Michaels with us, an absolute legend in this industry. Oakland +7 versus Indianapolis. And, Indianapolis has been impressive. They just hosted Atlanta. They really dominated that game from start to finish. The score was much closer than the game actually was. Oakland went into Minnesota last week, got their asses handed to them, but let's be honest, they were playing an angry, mean Minnesota team. I look at this game and I think to myself, and this is what I'm going to ask you, Ralph, is Indy capable? Are we capable of taking Indy at 7? I don't know if this team can put up enough points to justify that type of line. I again am looking at the dog here.
Well, this is a game where I'm not sure Indy is capable of laying 7 and learning how to win and cover as a favorite. But on the flip side, I am certainly not going to back the Raiders on the road. They have been a horrific road team. And again, guys, at Cal Sports LV, follow me on Twitter. You're going to see all these type of situations that I tweet out. The Raiders on the road in their last 16 games, 2-14 straight up. 3-12-1 against the spread. The defense is allowing 30.6 points per game. And by the way, their 2 road wins, last year's historically bad Arizona Cardinals team, last year's horrible Broncos team, and that takes them all the way back to 2017 when they had their third cover. So I look at the Raiders. The defense is just not there yet. They allowed 34 points to the Vikings. It could have been worse than that. But I will talk about a total I like. I do like with the Raiders defense. I do like what Brissett has done. I do like that the Raiders, I think, can move the ball against a Colts defense that's allowing 76% completions. And here's one of the systems that, our viewers on Presidential Address are going to get a handful of each week. In the first 4 weeks of the season, teams that are on the second straight road game off a loss and they're a dog of 5 or more. So Raiders back-to-back road games, yes. Raiders off a loss, yes, they lost to the Vikings. Raiders a dog of 5 or more, yes. Those teams in that situation since 2013 have gone 14-0 to the over And I agree with it. I like the Raiders and Colts over the total.
The total for that number is 45. It has been bet up from 44. Drew Martin, you've got an interesting look on your face. Talk to us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating stat. I love it, Cal, Ralph, and follow him on Twitter at Cal Sports LV. But because whenever I hear trends like that, I always think, fundamentally, what is the reason that that's happening? And I'm trying to put that together in my head. Can you think of the reason that is happening in terms of the underdog of that much on the road back to back?
It's because of the points allowed by that team that's on the road.
Okay, so it kind of correlates there.
Right. You've got a dog who's not a very good team, who's on a back-to-back road team, so you have no time to make adjustments. It's still early in the season, so again, the teams are feeling each other out. So it's the points allowed for the team that's on that back-to-back. And again, Oakland fits into that situation perfectly, allowing over 30 points per game their last 16 road games.
Oh, I love it, man. And then obviously right there would come to Indianapolis team total over. Man, that is great stuff there, Ralph. That's awesome, man. I don't think I'm going to be able to throw out there anything that's as good as that. I mean, the only thing I would throw out is Indianapolis in terms of profile betting in the NFL. Ralph also spoke to this. I mean, I'm not really looking to lay a lot of points with them. Just because I like them more as an underdog than a favorite. Yeah. And then Oakland, I can't figure this team out. I mean, granted, their last two games are tough, Kansas City and Minnesota, which you spoke to, Prez. And instead of figuring out from a side perspective, man, I think that total that Ralph just brought up, that's worth investing in.
He's Drew Martin, Ralph Michaels with us, and that, my friends, the end of Morning Joe and the Pro. Really quickly, everybody, just to summarize what's going on this week, Puck Time is back, our hockey show. It's an incredible show. So many guests this year. Alex B. Smith, Andrew McGinnis, Carmine Bianco, Dave Cokin, Buster Sports. It starts this Thursday. We're doing two preview games, two preview shows this Thursday, the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference, so check that out. Also, the college football betting show with Teddy and Dave Cokin is already up at WagerTalk TV, our YouTube channel. The NFL presidential address goes up on Wednesday, and every day we have this show, which used to be called Morning Joe and the Pro, but is now called The Betting Edge with the Prez. You can find me at Prez WagerTalk. Please comment and post stuff on all our videos. I read every single comment. Make sure to hit the like button. It's greatly appreciated. I actually don't understand why anyone would hit the unlike button. I was picturing my daughter presenting. She's at FIT University this year. I was picturing her standing in front of her class and presenting an essay. And then the teacher turns to the class and says, "Okay, everybody, thumbs up or down." And I could just imagine 5 of her peers going thumbs down. Nobody would do that. Nobody does that in real life. Why are you doing it on videos? Anyway, that's my really short rant of the day. I'm the Prez. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.